Another edition of what I'm thinking and what I'm hearing as the trade deadline approaches. And a place to start is at third base with the Yankees, where there's no doubt they need help. Jazz Chisholm moved back to to second base, and in the 12 games since then, going into the weekend, Yankee third baseman 143 average, no extra base hits. It's just not major league level. And yet, because the Yankees are still leading the American League in runs per game, it's 5.2. Internally, the Yankees see the number one priority that they need to address as pitching. It doesn't mean that they're not getting a third baseman. I think they'll get a third baseman. But what scares the heck out of Yankee officials is depth and quality in the pitching. And if anything else goes wrong, do they even have trouble just getting into the tournament in October? They know, for example, Garrett Cole and Clark Schmidt, they're not coming back this season after Tommy John surgeries. At what level do they get back Luis Hill and Ryan Yarborough? In their bullpen, I think they think Mark Leiter Jr., Yerry De Los Santos come back soon, Fernando Cruz maybe in about a month. Maybe that adds to it, but they wonder, what's the wall and level of performance they could expect from Cam Schlittler and Will Warren? They've put a big burden on Rodon and Fried, and obviously Fried has the blister issue going forward. And Marcus Stroman is always operating on that thin line of how good his stuff is going to be able to get out good lineups over and over. So it feels like the priority there is they need at least one starter, and in their ideal world, they would get a reliever who could pitch in the last 6-9 outs along with Luke Weaver and Devin Williams. If that pitcher was left-handed, all the better. If not, it would be great for them to get a left-hander to join Tim Hill. And look, they'd even like somebody who feels a more sure thing to add to the depth than the Leiter Jr., Jonathan Loáisiga, Ian Hamilton group that's kind of been very up and down. In Loáisiga's case, really down this year, considering his skill level and what the Yankees thought about him. It is interesting that the Yankees, this is number 2, need pitching and third baseman. It's exactly what they traded for Nestor Cortes, right? Caleb Durbin, a third baseman. What they traded for Devin Williams, Nestor Cortes and Caleb Durbin for Devin Williams was the trade. And let's keep an eye. Nestor Cortes made his 4th and probably last rehab start on Thursday night at AAA. Pitched 5 2/3 innings, 1 earned run, struck out 9. He's pitched very well on his four rehab starts, 2 earned runs in 18 innings, 18 strikeouts. But the one thing to keep in mind is there were Brewer officials who are looking at this as much an audition for other teams as for the Brewers. Right now, Milwaukee, one of the reasons they're flying is they have 5 starters going round and round at a really high quality level. Obviously, the addition of Jason Mizorowski into the rotation to join Jose Quintana, Freddie Peralta, Quinn Priesta, and Brandon Woodruff has been huge. They have depth in Logan Henderson, Chad Patrick, and Tobias Myers. Myers, they just called up to pitch out of their bullpen, but he pitched very well in their rotation last year, so they have some depth. And look, could the Brewers go to a 6-man rotation? They could. Woodruff missed a year and a half after shoulder surgery. Mizorowski's a rookie. What's his wall? But the Brewers are always operating under a thin financial line. Cortes is owed $2 million for the rest of the season. Are they able to trade Cortes, save the $2 million, and point that towards another area they might need? It's something to think about. Look, as a way to close this, why don't we get back to Yankee third baseman? And I would just point out, do they regret the Devin Williams trade? Devin Williams is pitching real well now. If they hadn't pulled down another reliever, how would the Yankees feel about their end game? Right now, it's in Williams and Weaver's hands. That's better than most teams. But let's not overshadow what Durbin has done in Milwaukee. He came up on April 18th. Since May 24th, it's 46 games, 311, 895 OPS, under 10% strikeout rate, 9.9 strikeout rate, high-end defense at third base. And I encourage everyone always to listen to the show with Joel Sherman and John Heyman, our podcast. But our guest this week was Pat Murphy, the manager of the Brewers. And if you'd like to hear somebody rave about baseball IQ and acumen and desire, listen to him on Caleb Durbin, and you'd here's someone who the Yankees could desperately need. But if it's not going to be them and the Yankees want to use their better prospects to go get pitching, again, their priority, does that put Eugenio Suarez out of their reach? I think they'll try to get him, but Seattle, even after acquiring Josh Naylor from Arizona, making it clear Arizona is open for business for everybody who's a walk-year guy like Suarez, Seattle wants to have a reunion with Suarez as well. They traded him after the 2023 season to Arizona. Where can the Yankees look if not? There's some obvious candidates. Minnesota's Willie Castro. Colorado has Ryan McMahon and are finally willing to trade him at a point where his value is really low. He hasn't performed that great. Washington has Ahmad Rosario. Rosario feels like the kind of guy who is a guy you add not to fully play third base. He's really good against lefties. He has a lot of maneuverability. It's almost like if you got Rosario and McMahon, for example, as a combo. Does that work? Even Castro and Rosario as a combo where, against lefties, Rosario plays third base and Castro maybe plays left field instead of Dominguez, who has trouble against lefties, but Castro's a regular third baseman. I'm going to throw out a name, and this is why I always think you have to be careful about what I hear and what I think, and our aggregator friends using the think as if it's what I hear. I want to say, I have not heard Baltimore is looking to trade Ramon Urias. I have not heard his name. I don't know if they make a trade in the division with the Yankees. The Orioles' priority seems to be to move their walk-year players, guys like Ryan O'Hearn and Cedric Mullins and Charlie Morton and Andrew Kittredge, etc., guys like that. Urias has 1 year left to he's a free agent after 2026. But Baltimore is set in its infield for the near future with Gunnar Henderson at short, Jordan Westberg at third, and Jackson Holliday at second. Is Urias expendable? If he is even a little bit, he's a player I would have interest in if I were the Yankees, even if I got a third baseman someplace else. I think he's just kind of what they need. High baseball IQ, tremendous defense at third base. He's a league average offensive performer in general, which, by the way, would be a big increase for where the Yankees are right now with their third baseman and the fact the other guys can carry league average at third base. But he's 277 with a 753 OPS versus lefties, which is an area the Yankees could use some help depth-wise. And I would just point this out. Someone who has worked with him said to me, his power is to right field. It's not big power, but it's a right field, and it would play up at Yankee Stadium. And where did Ramon Urias hit his last home run of 2024? He hit it to right field at Yankee Stadium. Where did he hit one of his homers this year? He took Luke Weaver deep at Yankee Stadium to right field. He's a guy I'd have a lot of interest in. I'm not sure if he's available, but I'd certainly make a phone call.